There are multiple ways to become a successful person, whatever you consider to be successful. And in the most popular term for success being like financial success, making lots of money, maybe becoming a multi-millionaire, multi-billionaire, whatever status you might consider success to be for you. But I'll go with the most popular one, which is like financial success to have a wealthy lifestyle. And one of the most important factors in successful people is the one that is least talked about, because you've obviously got, if you're in the self-help space, consistency, hard work, their skill, their experience, their connections, their abilities to just push through the hard work and stay consistent with it all. But the one that is talked about the least, or at least isn't talked about in a kind of odd way, is the belief that these successful people have that made them as successful as they are. Because you hear a lot, especially if you're in the self-help space, about maybe like law of attraction, about their beliefs, about their luck and how lucky they believe they are. But that comes down to ultimately your beliefs and what you actually believe you are, how you believe the world works, the reality that you believe you live in. And I think most people naturally just don't question this stuff because it's kind of just the awareness you have for what life even is. The more awareness you have, the more things you'll question. Most people just go their day by day life surviving, and the people that choose to kind of expand their awareness, expand their understanding of how the world works, kind of what their existence even means or what it is, like they end up diving further into just their life, basically. And I made this point in a recent video about kind of going all in and kind of what it really takes to actually start seeing results, because I, for one, have always been someone that's procrastinated. I've always kind of had the shiny object syndrome and kind of that 90-day cycle of just never really making any progress with something because you never get far enough to actually make progress with it. And in this video, I wanted to finally touch on something that I've wanted to talk about for a while, but for one, I've not made it yet. I'm on my journey. I'm at the very beginning of my journey. Only, I've been in business for barely a couple of years. I've worked with a few clients. I've actually started a new agency recently and signed my first client as of the past, couple of weeks, as of the end of June 2024. And I only want to talk about this from the kind of beginner's perspective because I've not yet experienced this opinion and set of beliefs I've learned and grown to have over the past year. I've not learnt that from the experienced perspective yet. So I'm coming at this from a beginner's perspective. There's a full caveat here, full disclaimer. But from what I've seen, from the perspective I have of other successful people, and even having the opportunity and the grateful opportunity to be able to talk to some of these people one on one, or at least go to events and seeing them, I've experienced it firsthand in their own opinion on this subject. So I've already mentioned it. It's all about things like law of assumption and your belief systems, because this is what I believe is probably 50% or more of what determines someone's level of success in life. Their actual belief systems, what they believe to be true about themselves, about the way the world works, and their reality. And this subject matter is kind of a bit woo-woo to some people, depending on your own beliefs and opinions about the world and about existence and reality. But there's actually a book that I have yet to read. I've even yet to buy it. I will want to buy it at some point, but I've kind of dived into these concepts already and in my own ways in different areas from knowing a couple of different people in my life. And the book's called Reality Transurfing, and it's ultimately about realizing that what we desire in life is ultimately down to how we manifest it and what we actually believe manifestation really means. Because a lot of people go, "Oh, manifest this, manifest that," and a lot of people outside this area of knowledge kind of just think it's, you know, sitting on your yoga mat, just meditating away, kind of visualizing that desired reality. And sure, that's a part of it. That's what some people do. That's what a lot of people do. But what, at least in my experience, in my opinion so far, a lot of people miss the point here, because obviously spirituality, beliefs, opinions, all this stuff has its own stereotypes outside of the space, and then people that are entering that space kind of look at the stereotype maybe in a positive way or a kind of skeptical way to begin with, but they want to know more maybe. And so I think that when you're going into this, you naturally will be maybe a bit skeptical, but maybe you're hoping for the best with it, as I was. But I even now have my own kind of theories about it and opinions, like I guess anyone would have, about what I really think manifestation actually is, and like my own interpretation of the law of assumption, and all these kind of metaphysical, spiritual beliefs and concepts and labels that you can assign to just making progress in life, becoming successful, working hard, all these sorts of things, and luck and all that sort of stuff. So to dive into it without making this like a 20-minute video, I've got a few notes here, but obviously the first one is obviously, like I mentioned, law of assumption, and I think I really want to explain the fact that a lot of people naturally have very strong opinions or beliefs about spirituality, about metaphysics. They kind of think all this stuff is a bit, hippie-ish, or bit of, fantastic, fictional, fantastical, whatever you kind of believe it is to be. I've been there as well. I've I've had my own strong opinions on star signs, astrology, spirituality, psychic abilities, meditation, all of it. I've kind of been from one end and through into the other end now. And I want to give my thoughts and opinions on it now going into this to help you realize what I think I've seen, what makes the most successful people successful. And again, about 50% of it, I think, is genuinely their understanding of the law of assumption, or whatever you want to label it as. But ultimately, the law of assumption is one definition of it. An understanding that, the understanding of how they kind of manifest, I'm going to use quote unquote there, how they manifest whatever label you want to apply to it, but manifest their desired reality. Because the law of assumption states that you ultimately don't manifest, you aren't wishing for your desired reality. The law of assumption states that you assume your desired reality as now, and physical reality and time now, your current reality is a lagging indicator of your manifestation and how it all works. Now, to bring this back to, in some people's opinions, reality and just common sense in some people's eyes, and again, I've been there, I've had that belief about all of this and opinion, but the way I've made sense of this for myself is understanding this. Most people may have heard of the red car theory before, or even understanding that you walk into a room, or even just your friends or your family, if someone says something in the back, if you're at a party or if you're at an event and someone says something, either that you're talking to or you hear a conversation over there, if that's something that you're interested in, or it's something that is currently on your mind, you will hear that. You'll have a sensitivity to hearing that than opposed to something else random. Like if you have a passion for art or writing, creative writing, and you're at a big event and you hear someone talking about writing, you'll hear that because that's something you're interested in and passionate about and seeking for more of in life, basically. And the same with the red car, if you're driving around and you think of a red car, you start seeing more red cars. If you're looking to, upgrade your car or buy that specific car or just your favorite car, you'll start seeing more of that car in your day-to-day life. It might be a very rare car even, but you'll start seeing it because you've gained a sensitivity visually or in terms of your senses for that thing. So if it is in terms of your passion, most people can relate to that. If you have a passion of some kind or you have a common interest in something, as soon as someone starts talking about that thing with you, or if in another conversation, you'll hear it because you have a sensitivity to hearing or sensing that thing in just life. So the law of assumption, manifestation, whatever you want to call it, that is what that is. It is having that heightened sense for seeking that thing and then bringing more opportunities for it into your life. Because ultimately, all of the opportunities are there. It's just you've not decided to tap into, let's say, that sensitivity for that sense. Because everything we want is all around us all the time. It's just about choosing to look out for it, choosing to seek it out. And so when we are choosing to assume that reality of I want X, Y, Z. Why do I want them? Okay, well, I want them because of X, Y, Z. Once we start aligning with choosing to want that, choosing for that reality to just be present now, then we'll see more opportunities in our day-to-day life that you might see as a coincidence, maybe not, maybe you might see them as a synchronicity, whatever you might want to call it or think of it as. You will start seeing more of these opportunities in your day-to-day life because you've already seen them in some way, shape, or form. Whatever passions you have, interests you have, you've been buying a new car and you suddenly see it on the road more than usual. That is what that is. And so it's just about using that to be able to bring you more opportunities that bring you closer to what you actually want in life. Because so many people, myself included, have wished things away. We've hoped things. We've said that we're not that type of person. That's for other people that are lucky. It's we literally push it further away from us because of what we tell ourselves and what we say. So hopefully, this kind of that makes sense of what might to you otherwise be a bit of a you know weird topic, depending on your beliefs or opinions on the whole subject of spirituality, metaphysics, whatever it might be. But I really wanted to make this video because of that, because I wanted to kind of give you my perspective of what I've seen, of like the fact that you can literally apply the red car theory, or the fact of just once you start having a sense for it, you start seeing these opportunities that were already there. It's just you have that sense now for them. And that is what the law of assumption is. That's what this is. That's ultimately what manifestation is. Whatever label you want to call it, whether it's manifestation, whether it's seeking new opportunities, whatever you want to call it, because you start seeing more opportunities and hearing them and feeling for them in day-to-day life, and actually start acting on more opportunities as well. Because if you physically want if you want something more, you'll then be more accustomed to feeling for opportunities. You'll get that gut feeling of I want that, or I'm going to get this, or that feels right, it doesn't feel right, and then that opportunity will come. And it's just about finding that. But again, this subject matter has a whole load of kind of possibilities and people with their own multitude of opinions. So I was skeptical to actually make this video, but I wanted to kind of ground it in as much to a lot of people what they might consider their normal reality. Because whether you believe in spiritual concepts or metaphysical concepts or not, this is all that red car theory and all that, how that works, that you've already experienced to some extent in your life, most likely, that is ultimately how this works. So it's just depending on your labels of it all. So a bit of a random video, but I did want to add to the point from what I made in a recent video all about kind of going all in with something and how to actually bring that reality, because this is ultimately how the most successful people do it. It's, I would say, at least 50% of their success is just finding those opportunities, seeking those opportunities out, and then acting on those opportunities. And that's how it happens. So, yeah. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I will stop squinting because it's a sunny day in this room. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.